Hello everybody, it's Jim Feist. It's Wednesday morning. We're coming off Houston upsetting Golden State last night. And Hank Goldberg's on the phone with me. I know, Hank, you have some strong opinions about what went wrong for the Warriors last night.
I think there were two elements that happened in that game. First of all, they had a 10-point lead and they were home going into the fourth quarter. They missed open shots in the fourth quarter, but I was shocked that Durant didn't do anything in the fourth quarter. He disappeared. And he had the ball in his hands when they were down 2 points. They defended well. They stopped Houston when they needed to, and they had the ball in their hands in a position to either win the game or tie the game and send it to overtime. Durant brought the ball down court. Two things happened. One, he threw the ball to a guy who was playing hurt, who hadn't taken a shot since the midway through the third quarter. Meanwhile, he had the ball in his hands, and he took the ball down to a position where he had an open mid-range shot, and he didn't take it. I was stunned to see that. Why did they get him? He's supposed to take that shot, and he passed on it. Somebody has to explain that. Secondly, they tried to call a timeout, and the officials didn't hear him with 4 seconds left. That's number two. It was a weird situation, very strange. Although, I will say this, that Kerr had told him that he didn't want him to take a timeout. He wanted him to play it out. But when they got stuck in a corner and there were 4 seconds left, they tried to call a timeout, and the officials wouldn't give it to him for some odd reason. It's very strange end to the game. And the third element to it was Paul really came through and had a fabulous game.
Paul played great, but I think we have to bring up the fact that Iguodala didn't play, and he is a much more important player on that team than people give him credit for. He plays great defense. He creates a lot more passing in the offense. He's always in motion. He runs the pick and rolls. And missing him was a big, obviously Houston came back off the 41-point loss. They were hyped up for it, but I think with Iguodala in the game would have made a big difference.
You know something? They played great defense anyway for the most part. Look what the final score was. They were in the 80s.
40 points under the total, the estimated total. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Tonight we got a big game. Cleveland, after winning 2 at home, which, the way Boston plays on the road, we're not surprised about that. Now Boston goes home where they haven't lost a game, and Cleveland is coming in with a lot of anticipation, and they're really jacked up because they played well at home. They got some help from other players besides LeBron. So they're going in there with a little bit more confidence, but Boston has a lot of confidence going back to their home court.
I'll tell you what, the guy on ESPN made a real ridiculous statement the other day. He said that Boston has demonstrated that they don't need the guy that they picked up from Cleveland, and they missed him the other night. Badly, because Smart killed him. Smart was something like 0 for the game shooting wise, and he coughed up the ball 7 or 8 times. And Smart is not a great distributor of the ball for the most part. And if he's not on his game shooting, just like I'm going to pinpoint Durant for losing the game last night, Smart, he really killed the Celtics the other night. The rest of them played well enough to win, but Smart, he kept turning the ball over. It was ridiculous. They had 15 turnovers in the game. He had half of them.
Wow, that's not good. Not good at all. Well, Kyrie Irving is a big player. He's a championship player.
They're not going to get rid of Kyrie Irving. And one of the commentators on ESPN's pregame show said that they've demonstrated that they don't need Kyrie, and they can. That's absurd. Kyrie would make a difference. If they had Kyrie, they'd be sailing through this series.
It'd make a big difference, no question. He's a different kind of player, and he would play well on the road as well. Because if you remember how he played well in the championship series when they won against Golden State, yeah, that's a different chemistry there. They've gone through a lot of injuries this year. It's amazing Boston has gotten as far, but they are good at home and they play very disciplined basketball. They probably missed a dozen dunks and layups in the last game, which is kind of
they missed 15 shots inside around the basket in the game.
Wow.
15 shots.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Major League Baseball is humming along. We're starting to get into the heat of the summer, and some of these prices on these baseball games are very large, and it's difficult to lay those numbers. But there's other ways to beat baseball with first 5 inning run lines, etc. So you have to keep on top of that, and you and I do that, Hank. So people need to tune in and go to jimfeist.com for our stuff.
You know what? There's a couple of teams to keep an eye on right now. Atlanta and Philadelphia are playing great ball. I heard another one of the ESPN commentators who does a lot of play-by-play say that Atlanta won't last. Why not? They've got some young talent on that team. I think they're the leading hitting team in the league right now, and there's no reason to think that they can't last. They've got some real power on the team and a ballpark that lends itself to that, and they may be the surprise team in the league right now. And Philadelphia is another team that's been a good one to ride so far. The Yankees are more obvious, but they're. I'll tell you something else. Arizona has been kind of up and down, and Greinke, who was normally reliable, has not been so reliable so far. He's been able to make money going against certain pitchers this year. Now, the Houston team has probably the deepest pitching staff in the league. And they're one team where you're able to give runs and win.
Well, yeah, they do pound. Well, you can give runs with the Yankees too. I mean, they've been hitting the ball all over the park, and if they get any pitching at all, I mean, they've been on a great run. You talk about Arizona. I think there was a point there they lost 10 out of 11 or 11 out of 12 games, and they've been absolutely, after getting a really good start and getting the lead in that division, they've really blown up and gone backwards. But they've had some injuries, and that affects every team, whether it's baseball, football, basketball. Injuries affect them, but they've been playing very poorly.
Yeah, let's talk a little football. Well, the league meetings are going on, and there are a couple of things that have come up. One, they're changing the rules on kickoffs. Hopefully, they didn't take away the kickoff. Thankfully, they didn't. But they've changed the rules on kickoffs so that they're trying to avoid injuries. And kickoffs are going to be more like punt returns. And they're trying to encourage the big plays on kickoffs again, somehow with tweaking the rules on that. So that's something to look for when the season starts. They're still discussing what they want to do with the anthem. The best thing they can do with the anthem is not require the players to come out if they don't want to kneel, or if they want to kneel, rather. Don't impose penalties. The Players Association won't go for that anyway. But can you imagine if a 15-yard penalty on a social issue? That would be disgraceful.
Well, I don't know what the right answer is, but I know it's a mess, and it's really affected their ratings. especially during the regular season. Maybe not so much in the playoffs, but it's a problem. And I don't know what to say. I understand the reason for the protest, but I don't agree with that they should be doing it on the sidelines. I mean, they're working and they're getting paid, and they have a boss, and the boss doesn't want them to do it, and they shouldn't be doing it. I know it's, if my employees were doing something they wouldn't be around very long. But you're right. It's penalizing for a social thing. I think you're right. Keep them in the locker room until the anthem is played, and let everybody come out then.
Remember years ago when they would not play the anthem on they used to play the anthem before the telecast started?
I don't remember that. No.
Well, I remember I was broadcasting games at the time, and on radio. But there was a time when the networks didn't want to show the anthem on television. So the anthem came before they went on the air.
And why was that? Why didn't they want to show it?
Because it just occupied time for no reason. They just didn't want to put it on, and it was no big deal. Nobody asked for it.
Well,
and they had people coming on, and I don't think it was because people were overdoing the anthem or whatever. They just the league just went by the network. I'll tell you why. The networks use that time for commercials.
Oh, of course, it's better to make money, of course. Interesting. Well, they could go back to that again. Change,
Oh, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding now?
I am sort of kidding. Yes, it's hard to roll back anything once the rubber band is expanded. It never goes back to the same shape.
But we used to, on the radio broadcast, we knew exactly when the anthem was coming up, and we used to break. We would do our setting up the game, and we knew exactly when the anthem was going to be played, and so we would go to a commercial when the anthem was coming up.
Well, what years was that, Hank?
Oh, I started doing the games in the mid-'70s, and I worked them until the early '90s.
Well, like you said, it's hard to roll anything back, so probably that's not going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do about it, but I agree they shouldn't be penalizing yardage in the game for a social issue. I think you're right. I think they should keep them in the clubhouse, and that ends the whole thing. And after a while, people will get used to that, I suppose. Anything else you want to cover today, Hank?
One other thing, they're no longer going to have bids on the Super Bowl. They're just going to assign them. I thought that was interesting, too. I don't know what the reason is for that, but Super Bowls are going to be assigned now through the year 2024. And I think the last two games that were assigned are Tampa and Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe that's because they don't want a cold weather city winning the bid.
I don't know. I think that they were paying off cities for new stadiums all these years, but I think they may wind up with a rotation, a permanent rotation, where Dallas gets it. The new stadium in Los Angeles will get it. I think they've got something like that in mind.
Yeah, that's probably true. Hank, anything special you want to talk about before we sign off? There's lots going on. I know you got the horse racing. We're going to have a big weekend, Memorial Day weekend, which is important to all of us. And we should all celebrate that because there's a lot to be, a lot of emotions goes on with that day.
Well, there's this 3-week break between the Preakness and the Belmont. It's a big race. Actually, there are a lot of big stakes races this weekend because they have the holiday on Monday, so there'll be races on Saturday and on Monday as well. So it'll be a good week for horse racing.
Oh, one other thing we have to cover. When in Las Vegas, which soon will be your home because you're moving out here.
Yep.
And it's not too long in the future. The Las Vegas Golden Knights have made the Stanley Cup, and that is absolutely incredible. We are so flabbergasted here in this city about this. This is, after all, guys, in case you forgot, this is an expansion team, their first year. Unbelievable.
This is the third time an expansion team has made the Stanley Cup Finals. But the other times was when there were only 8 teams in the league. It was early times of expansion. But still, it's a miraculous story. And I'll tell you who's really steaming is the hockey fans in my current hometown. Because the coach was fired here. And 2 of the star players from here were picked up in the expansion draft. In fact, the leading scorer for Las Vegas came from the Panthers.
Wow.
And they're wondering about the management of the team here, that they would let the key elements of the Knights go from the Panthers, from the Florida Panthers.
Wasn't that a lot of these players that are on the Vegas team were let go because of contract issues, because the players wanted to dump these big prices.
But the top scorer and I think the goalie came from the Panthers, and the coach was let go by the Panthers. That's amazing. And so people here are wondering about the management of the hockey team here that hasn't made the playoffs in years. And just another South Florida sports story of dismal management that go along with the Marlins and the Dolphins, and it's just lean years for sports here, with the exception of the Heat, which is also kind of on lean times.
Yeah, cities go through that, and it seems like sometimes a city will, go through rough times like that, and then all of a sudden, like Philadelphia right now, they win the Super Bowl, the Phillies look pretty good, the 76ers look pretty good. So, I mean, that team went through years of not doing very much well, and now all the teams there are doing good.
Yep. Well, Philadelphia is really on a roll right now, so.
They really are.
But watch, New York is right now looking pretty good too. I think the Giants are going to have a big year. Yankees are strong right now, and the Knicks, as always, have hope with the new coach.
And the Knicks usually that's about all they usually have is hope. So they got a lot of rebuilding to do there. And of course, unless they can figure out a way to get LeBron to come, which I doubt. I doubt that's going to happen. But
that's
anyway,
not happening.
it's always nice to have hope, though, Hank.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Hank. I appreciate your time today, and we'll talk again on Friday.
Okay, tonight will be. I'm glad they finally had a good game to watch. It was exciting last night, and I had the under. That helped me, and that was never an issue.
I actually had the dog and the under. I was kind of surprised at the way the game was played. We talked about it a little bit earlier and talked about Durant and stuff, and you sometimes wonder about the distribution of the basketball, who's going to take the shot and stuff, and in a key moment, who should take the shot. And I don't know what goes on in their minds, but I do know that people are people are people. No matter what walk of life they're in. And I thought Durant should have taken that shot just like you do, but it didn't happen. And it was kind of surprising. He was, he's an unstoppable guy. You just don't guard him, and there's no range that's out of his range. So he had a shot, didn't take it. I don't understand it either. But
well, he disappeared in the fourth quarter, and he should be a key guy. He should have wanted to control the fourth quarter.
Here's a guy that can give you 30. He's a guy who can give you 30, 40 points a night, and he's unless he, I don't know. I really can't speak to it. It was kind of strange. But anyway, I had a good night in baskets. I had both sides, the side and total, and hopefully I'll do again tonight. So Hank, I got to sign off, but thanks everybody for listening, and go to jimfeist.com for our plays. Thank you guys. Thank you, Hank.
Okay.